The New York Times says a panel of independent experts is helping the Pentagon understand the psychology of ISIS to figure out how to defeat it. They are looking at the intangible tactics the terrorist group uses to take control of a population. They are also studying what makes ISIS so magnetic to recruits. The final report is due next month.
There's a reason why a war cannot be fought without intelligence, but intelligence is not limited to simply troop movements and knowledge of infrastructure. What makes them tick? Who are we fighting? Those are the keys to winning a war. Let's welcome back to Midpoint former CIA analyst and our intel specialist, Lisa Ruth, joining us right now. Hi, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
Yeah, some really interesting comments from Major General Michael Nagata. He said basically, we do not understand the movement, and until we do, we are not going to defeat it. We have not defeated the idea. We do not even understand the idea. What do you think of that?
Well, I think he's exactly right. You know, it's interesting to me looking back. This is something the agency always did. You always go back to Sun Tzu, for goodness sakes. You have to understand your enemy. You know who you're dealing with. Honestly, what bothered me about this statement, there's two things. Either our intelligence community has lost this capability, which was so entrenched when I was there, very much what's going on, why? Or there is a real disconnect between policymakers and the intelligence community that they have to reach out beyond. I'm not saying it's not a good idea to get all kinds of views, but it does concern me that perhaps there is a disconnect between the intelligence community and our leaders, and that they're not relying on the intelligence community the way they should.
We've talked about the success of ISIS recruiting internationally. Do we have a counter response to this online propaganda?
Not a very good one right now, and part of it is going back to this point that the Brigadier General made. We're not even really sure why it is that this message on social media is resonating so clearly. You know, ISIS's message is not new. This really is the same message that we've had for Al-Qaeda, but they are using channels incredibly effectively. If you look at where they're placing this information, and they're able to make these recruits. The United States and the Western allies have tried. They're trying to say, oh, these are not good people. Frankly, even letting the beheadings come on video, there is some thought that perhaps showing this brutality and how really bad these groups are will help counter it. But it's a very disjointed effort and doesn't appear to be successful. I just saw again that woman in Virginia who was trying to recruit some people to go over, and now they said her kids are now trying to recruit people to go over. So far, we don't have a counterintelligence capability against them to fight them on a covert action level.
North Korea has been in the news, obviously, the last couple of weeks. Hard to believe it's a movie that really has been dominating the headlines. But where do you think we stand after these 2 weeks? Is there a winner or a loser right now in our battle with North Korea?
Going back to the standoff idea, which seems to be looking at 2015, where we are in a lot of our situations, ISIS, North Korea. You know, the whole thing with the interview was very strange because, as you said, it's a movie. So at first we wanted to take it not very seriously. Before that, we had North Korea releasing some American prisoners, which is a very big deal. It's very important. And then you had the hacking situation going on. As of right now, I don't think we're any further along in terms of relations with North Korea than we were before the interview, nor are we set back. Really, it seems like it's another phase. That said, I do think this has highlighted the fact that the hacking capability and the vulnerabilities of American corporations, but as well as American infrastructure, is something we have got to be aware of. We've got to fight this more strongly.
But don't you think the North Koreans are trying to spin it right now, our reaction to the interview, as a victory for their country?
Oh, sure, absolutely. And, you know, I also heard somebody say maybe Sony planned this all along because, again, who would have gone to see this movie? My goodness. But now a lot of people are going to go see it. You know, as it is, I know a lot of free speech advocates are going to see it, and, you know, maybe with headphones on or something. But that said, yes, of course North Korea is going to spin it that way. We're going to spin it as our president came out and said he wouldn't do it, and Sony did release it anyway. Everybody's spinning it. North Korea, also keep in mind, their consumption is all about domestic, and what they say domestically, we really don't even know. But I guarantee you, they're not spinning it as any sort of opening at all with the West or anything positive for the West.
Well, their consumption of internet obviously has been diminished by what's going on, and I don't know if it's the U.S. government in response to what happened to the interview, or just hackers taking on the North Korean internet system. What are your thoughts on that?
At this point, I've spoken with a lot of colleagues who are very much in the same boat. We have this argument of, oh, it's probably the government, and then somebody will go, yeah, but then again, maybe it's hackers. the North Korean internet system, talk about our own vulnerabilities, but theirs is so vulnerable. It could almost literally be anyone. It is antiquated. It's just not very good. So could be anyone.
A lot more to talk about when we return. Iraq's ghost soldiers and the fight in Libya for oil. We'll be back with Lisa Ruth on this Monday afternoon. You're watching Midpoint on Newsmax TV.